Okay, hello everyone. Good morning to you. This is Mark Bouzan joining you here from our wonderful co-working space in Gatineau, beautiful Gatineau, Quebec. You'll note I'm wearing my seersucker suit because it is hot outside. It's really hot. It's going to be hot today. So those of you joining us for the first time, we are broadcasting here from the page of the Society of Nonprofit Board Directors on Facebook, my own personal profile page on Facebook, from Periscope, and from YouTube as well. Those of you, again, just this is your first time joining in on me, a little bit about me so you know me. I am Mark Bouzan. I am the founder of the Society of Nonprofit Board Directors, a new virtual association, professional association for people who serve on the boards of, as volunteers, of not-for-profits, associations, charities, and the like. I'm also the founder of our association, our executive director association, Management Services, where we offer a whole gamut of different services in the areas of not-for-profit consulting, including fundraising, governance, management entirely of boutique association offering services. Personalized side of things, I'm father of a wonderful little guy named 5-year-old named Simon, and husband of wonderful wife, my wonderful wife Carolina as well. I'm a two-time association, not-for-profit association, executive director and president of 2 national associations. So all of this, which I just hope you get there, it's not to brag, frankly, it's just to give you an idea. I hope you believe when I'm talking to you, and I'm going to talk to you today about, is something I've got some background in a little bit when I'm talking to you about. Today, I'm going to go a little bit more into the technical things. Now, normally I talk to our audience of those that are following us at the Society of Nonprofit Board Directors, a little more in the broader, loftier things about the role of the board and this. But I want to talk today a little bit more immediate, direct things. And that's about show me the money, okay? Today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about personally my own case study experience of how I was able to successfully bring in over $525,000 in new revenues over a course of 2.5 years, going from just 3 corporate sponsors to 36 in that period of time, and significantly contributing towards that association's financial, their bottom line, to get them from out of the red and towards the black as well. If you're interested on this, if you're listening to this very much and you really want to know a little bit more about this, leave it in the comments and say hashtag show me the money, okay? Show me the money. If you're watching this live, say I want 2 hashtags. I want show me the money and I want as well live, okay? Hashtag there. If you're watching this in the replay, show me the money and replay as well, okay? Just so I want to know. And if you're interested in that, leave in the comments below, wherever you're listening in on, as I mentioned, to Periscope, to Facebook or YouTube. Leave comments and I'd love to reach out to you and you can get perhaps at some point as well, leaving the transcript for this session as well. So why is this so important? If you're interested in this, why is this so important? I found, frankly, a problem that exists amongst non-for-profits. And it doesn't matter if, when I say nonprofits, I have a big umbrella under which they're all there, because there's a large family of what they're. You got the charitable foundation, charitables, you got the foundations, you've got co-ops, you've got, and in my instance, for my background, though I have some charitable background, it's largely even from professional trade association, professional and trade associations as well. It's this attitude that somehow nonprofit means making no profit, or nonprofit equals poor. Wrong, okay? Tell me in the comments if you think that you agree with me. This is just so wrong. Nonprofit simply means that the investment and the monies that are made are reinvested back into the mission to advance and better make our society. Tell me if you think that that's a great idea. I think that's a great idea, and that's why I've invested probably the better part of 20+ years of my career in this sector as well, because I believe so much in the power of what not-for-profit organizations can do to advance and make this a better world as well. So this problem mentality comes about from, as I mentioned, a poor perception or an understanding that they cannot be and they should not be entrepreneurial. That's so wrong, so wrong in there. The problem and the result of this is that you end up with a few things. One, I've seen this happen time and time again, particularly with your organization, if you rely very much on grants, governments like this. Folks, that's a whole other topic and like this, but I tell you right now, you got to get off what I call the revenue roller coaster, okay? The problem with this is that often enough donors of that type of grants, they've got an idea of what their pet project is, of what they want to do. And sometimes that aligns and sometimes it doesn't there. And you can spend hours and hours and hours and hours trying to fill out applications and beautiful proposals and get that going. And maybe you're successful. I hope you are successful if that's right there. But too often and time enough, I hear about the stress and worry about staff from board as well as, are we going to get it next year? Are we going to get it next year? Are we going to get it next year? And the second trouble with that process is that they're often held hostage to that foundation's or that government grant giver or whoever that may be, idea very much of what makes for a worthy cause. Rarely do they ever encounter basic things that you just need to be able to keep the lights on, like paying good people, good salaries, keeping the lights on, having a place to work, equipment, IT, and all these kinds of things that are just simply needed to keep the organization going as well. So that's a challenge often there. And then as a result of often of this is because sometimes, because the nature of your organization's mission may be very much of a niche, I happen to find often enough by relying on those sources, you're capped at your potential. Because only certain amounts of grants out there are going to approach this kind of matter. So like I said, this is a whole other topic I could get on, and I could get on a whole on my soapbox and rant as to why I'm not a big fan of the grant process. I don't want to say completely gone out there, but I'm not a big fan of them. But so this leads me into my own personal experience. After leading 2 national trade associations, I went back into the consulting world and did a few things and exposed more and more to this big challenge of the revenue challenge. And when I was approached and took the opportunity most recently in June 2016 to become the director of business development and corporate partnerships with the Association of Consulting Engineering Companies of Canada, they were in an interesting situation. Now, this association was not on dire straits in any form or another, but they're, much like I talked about, the revenue cap was faced by the fact that they were facing this challenge and they needed to diversify their revenue sources. A number of challenges that happened in their industry, in the engineering industry, that meant that memberships were not really keeping up with what the operational requirements were coming up, or rather, membership revenues weren't coming up with the operational requirements. So the board had the wisdom to say, it's time for us to diversify our sources. And a huge opportunity was there in sponsorships that was untapped. But they had no serious real background in going out and after corporate sponsorships. They didn't have a lot of corporate collateral. A lot of what they would do with their 3 partners that they had at that point in time was what I would call the traditional slap up a logo and we'll talk in a year from now, which is not very appealing for many kind of prospective sponsors. So I came in with a very aggressive goal. They needed to acquire $300,000 in new revenues, recurring revenues, in a span of 3 years. And they wanted to go at this largely from, first and foremost, from sponsorships. Another element they felt that we figured out, we worked together, that we could get an element through events as well as a great way of revenue sources for the association. And then as well as beyond that, if there was an opportunity for other kinds of donations to our own foundation, support of another foundation, or memberships as well into the organization. We had no lists. We had no prior background, and a big, fat, ugly, hairy number in front of us that had to be accomplished. So here's what I did. Step one, I looked really long and hard at what were the assets of this organization. What do I mean by assets? I changed the frame of mind of that away from a beggar where we are going out specifically to members and saying, you know what, you need to donate to this organization, you need to support it because it's the right thing to do, as I often call guilting people into supporting your organization. Let me tell you something, that doesn't work well, folks. It does. Stop trying to guilt people into doing things. There. A lot of what our offering go as well to sponsors in particular was the very traditional kind of thing. What we call the GSB. The gold, silver, bronze, slap up a logo at our annual event, and let's. I hope you're happy with that, and let's talk a year or so from now as well. Instead, I went out to our current and past sponsors and asked them really, what's going on in your world? What's going on in your world? What do you find very effective, and how are you going about and developing your business, developing your marketing, and how would you sort of view that as being replicated through involvement in our organization, if at all? And you know, folks, the results of that information were really, really telling, because it great ideas for us as well to develop our own kind of assets. The second thing that we moved forward on, it was particularly, again, further on the development of our assets there, but we broke it down into different elements, okay? Describing specifically as it relates to the benefit that someone who would support our organization would get out of this. So away from the whole aspect of we'll slap your logo up and you'll get great exposure. That ended up being really, really, really silly. And as one prospective client told me, it was a very, very large corporate bank with a huge brand name recognition, said, "Hey, Mark, are you really thinking that by all means you can get us a bigger brand recognition than what we already have?" And you know what? He had a point. It was probably the other way around. So we looked very clearly and broke down what I called the menu document of all the different assets that would be of value, prospective value to sponsors. We also worked very carefully on the membership side of things towards affiliate or associate members, of breaking down what would be the prospective dollar for dollar value of this. I've got a whole process on this, folks. If you're really interested in knowing what that whole process is, of changing the mentality of, if you've got a membership type of organization, away from guilting people towards proving to prospective members and current members that there's a value add and a dollar for dollar value on that. Leave a comment there and we can talk about that. That's a whole other, probably a broadcast at another point in time. So you see right off the bat, the changing of the perceptions was very much about this. And most importantly, after this, the next step was as we built, feverishly and built out a very extensive prospect list. Now, not something just whipping out of the air that you think that this person should support us because what? No, I went very carefully and identified the type of profile of individual within a various types of organizations on the verticals of who we knew were going to be who had an interest in reaching the clientele that we reached out to as well. Again, I could get into all that very in deeply, but that's probably specifically another broadcast. I want to give you broad strokes at this point in time. So we built a CRM based on that, based on our verticals, based on who we were trying to reach and who we thought that as well would benefit from reaching this. And then above all, and the final and fourth step of this is, folks, we went out to market. We went out to market and rather than try to pitch pre-programmed or jammed up GSP programs that says, you know, you will get this and by God, you will like it and like this. You know what? The fact of the matter is you're going to find as you go out to market is that from supporters and donors and sponsors, no two people's idea of what value is going to be the same to the next. So I went in there without prejudging. We went out there very specifically and asked, you know, here's some of the things that we've come across, we've developed. What would be of value to you? And listened. It's good sales, just a simple good sales, salesmanship, simple entrepreneurship of going out there. And bit by bit, I can tell you folks, we're very successful over the course of that 2.5 years of going from just 3 partners to 36. And the cumulative effect of over that period of time was over $525,000 in new and recurring income. Now, there's I've given you just really the overview of all of the process in a very quick broadcast here. If you're interested in learning more about this process, about how you can get these organizations, there's a lot of steps that are involved in this. I'd love to entertain a conversation with you at any given point in time. These are the kinds of resources as well that are available through the Society of Nonprofit Board Directors. If you are a board director of a not-for-profit, association, foundation, charity, find out more about the Society of Nonprofit Board Directors at nonprofitboarddirectors.org. As well, if you want to talk to me as well, I mean, I lead up the society. Society is one of the clients of our Executive Director Association Management Services, but our Executive Director Association Management Services also offers some consulting and some help. I'd love to be able to work and talk with you as well about how we can change that dynamic from the poverty mentality towards profitability and adding revenue and sources to your organization. Folks, again, love to connect with you. If you're interested in hearing more about this, please get the word out. It helps us certainly like this. And above all, heart this, like this. It helps all much to get the word out about what effective non-for-profit service and board service should all be about. Okay, so thanks very much, everyone, and have a great day.